Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about why an actress called Inde Navarrette, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, if not I apologize, has kind of become an overnight sensation. So I actually wanted to see what her birth chart was. Now in astro theme we have an A reliability of her being a Capricorn rising like myself, which makes a lot of sense considering the transits and what she's gone through recently. So Inde starred in a relatively low budget horror film called Obsession, which did really well and kind of catapulted her to fame, let's say. She was in a DC show beforehand, but I guess people kind of know her as a name. She's also recently been cast as Rogue in the latest X-Men, which I think has been kind of controversial for some people, saying I'm not sure she's right for the role. There's been like, did you see her in Obsession? She's a great actress. So I was really intrigued by her birth chart because of the recent transits. I'm like, something has propelled her to fame, to notoriety quite quickly. So I looked at astro theme, which has an A reliability for her being a Capricorn rising like myself. Now this really does make sense with the transits. So I want to talk about her big three, her chart layout, but particularly her midheaven. So if you're interested into why people can become famous and if you can use these transits yourself, then you might enjoy this video. So first off, she's a Capricorn rising. That means that she's ruled by the planet Saturn. Now Capricorn risings have a 10th house ruled by Venus. So their career generally, depends on the chart, generally is always quite successful, particularly later in life. She's actually relatively young herself, she's in her 20s, but she's definitely been catapulted to a certain level of fame, which is quite unheard of for a Capricorn rising actually, I suppose. Now, what's important really, and the main thing I will look at is her midheaven, which is this MC. Now this stands for what you're talented at, what you're well known for, your social status. I have this, of course, as a Capricorn rising. And in Scorpio, this is normally the best way for you to come across on social media, or the best sort of impression. So for me, for example, astrology, esotericism, occult. For her, it's being in this horror film, right? Scorpio is associated with the gothic and of course quite obsessive actually. So she couldn't have picked a better film to really put herself out there, particularly because she's also a Pisces sun. Now Pisces sun is known for being very poetic, very intense, quite obsessive. I know because I got a Pisces moon. She's got a Gemini moon. I got a Sag sun. We're basically twins, but like kind of opposite in a way. So that's really nice. You can also see that her midheaven at 11 degrees trines, which means it holds hands with the Pisces sun at 12 degrees. So it really works together. It also shows that the way that she is articulating herself comes across well to others, or, you know, gains her a good social networking kind of circle. She's also got Gemini moon, which is really good for a sense of humor. And in the 6th house, this also shows that she's able to feel emotionally fulfilled by helping others, maybe sort of spreading a certain message. Now, she does have her ruler in the 5th house in Taurus. Now, this does mean that she might face some constriction with really showing others who she is. This could be creative expression, sexual expression, but it could also be working too hard and not embodying that sense of play. This is because Capricorn risings ruled by Saturn, we're kind of taught to suppress our playfulness, because if we don't, then things don't get done. And that's why we become more playful as we get older, because we realize that's kind of bullshit, right? She also has Uranus natally in Aquarius in her 2nd house. So this means at times inconsistent income, which is generally associated with acting or sort of like temp jobs, because you don't really know where your money's coming in. And she also has Mercury in Aquarius, which shows you have a different sense of humor, different type of job to the normal sort of, I'm a grave digger, I'm working at the supermarket, I'm a CEO, that kind of thing. Interestingly, she's also got a North Node in Cancer in her 7th house. So this also is trining her midheaven. It shows, again, the ability to work well with others and be received well by others. So she's got a really nice chart actually for not only becoming famous, but being well known. Now her part of fortune, which is the best way to make money, I'm giving her a free chart reading here, is in Libra, right? Which is also associated with beauty, harmony, and the arts. So you often see that with actors, dancers, people who work in beauty. In the 10th house, again, well known. If you've got part of fortune, you are well known for being famous, right? Some people have a North Node, like myself there. I'm not famous, but you know, sometimes you have like, some people know you, right, for what you do. And this part of fortune is going to be the best way for her to make money and tap in, but she might also find that to be difficult with her sense of maybe wanting a family later in life and choosing one over the other. She doesn't have to choose one or the other, but she might feel like she does. Now, there was one really interesting transit that's taken place recently, was that when she got cast as Rogue and she stepped on stage and everyone was like, okay, here you are. We had Venus in Libra in her 10th house. Venus in Libra is domicile, so it's at home, brings a lot of strategic advantage. In the 10th house, this generally means that it's a good time to launch something. It's really good for just putting yourself out there. So this is a really nice time for her to actually have that public reception, whether people agree with it or not. The next thing is the North Node is going to be transiting the 2nd house. So this is currently what's kind of giving Capricorn risings a pep in their step to really do the 1 to 5 year plan to make money. Now the North Node represents increase. So when it's in the 2nd house of income, it's going to literally increase income. It's also going to be conjunct her natal Uranus soon, which is going to be really good for kind of unexpected income. Like, I didn't know I could make this much money. When it also goes over the combined Mercury and Uranus transit, lots of scripts sent to her, lots of communication, lots of talk shows, people really enjoying what she's doing. And at some point this will square her midheaven, so it's also a sense of how much do you put yourself out there. Like she was saying herself in an interview recently, she can't go to the same places that she used to go with her friends because people kind of recognize her now, and I guess that is the downside of fame. So kind of interesting, her chart is really sort of aligned for all of this. One thing I will say is that she's got a kite formation, which means it's like shaped like a kite in the wind. The top of it is Venus in Aries. It goes up to her Gemini moon and then up to Mercury and then all the way up to part of fortune and back down again. So ultimately that means that her part of fortune is the sort of thing that's going to propel her, and she's ultimately trying to reach her Venus. So it feels to me that she's career orientated, but ultimately needs to listen to herself when it comes to what she wants desire wise, with a family, with romance, maybe with her own obsessions, right? But yeah, she's definitely got the sense in her chart of an actor that has probably not known if their income is going to be consistent, with Uranus in 2nd house, Pisces sun in the 3rd, and then also this feeling that she's probably well known for something quite quirky and quite different. And yeah, I think there's a certain sense of like Gen Z about her for sure. Like you can compare her to like a traditional A-list actor maybe in their 50s, and there's definitely difference. She kind of gives me a bit of a Jennifer Lawrence vibe as well. But I just wanted to do this short video to show you that the chart really aligns to what she's doing, both Venus in Libra, North Node transit, but also just looking at those points which can really help us understand why people become viral overnight and why people actually want to do the things that they do. So if you're interested in this and want more breakdowns of other actors if they've got charts, then let me know. And of course, if you want something like this for yourself, which is be a long hour reading, then you can of course book a reading in my website bio in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye.